was rowing, Mark's in the front. I remember I'm pulling off to the side. Next thing I know, Matt just jumps out of the boat. It's like could have been 3-4 feet of water, which is typical.
You got to take a chance like that.
And he's
Matt always jumps.
dives out of the water. Mark jumps out too. I'm sitting like, okay, I got the boat. Pull off to the side.
Park that damn
Look up
thing.
ahead of guys. I just remember him like netting it, and Mark just throws a rod in there off to the
That
shore.
was my
goes
first
in the
big
woods.
fish on a streamer. I think it might have been my
Starts
first
yelling.
fish on a streamer. And throwing, yeah.
I'm the youngest brother,
Such a big
4 years apart from oldest to youngest brother.
I'm the middle brother, and there's a lot of benefits to that.
Growing up in a house with 3 boys, we love each other to death. But as kids, yeah, we used to fight all the time.
There were fists thrown when we were younger, but it was never anything that caused long-term problems. But we were 3 brothers, similar age, who fought a lot.
We were just so competitive and stuff when it came to sports or whatever. So there was definitely a lot of fighting going on.
And once we went off to college, it was sort of fun to fish with other people. You know, like, oh, I got stuck fishing with my brothers. You know, I had to, I'm sure with Eric a lot, my mom made him take me. If I was going, she made me take Mark. And we were stuck fishing with our brothers. And growing up, that didn't seem terrible. Once you could fish with your friends, well, that sounded way better. But eventually, we just sort of gravitated back towards each other to the point where now, if I can go fishing and Mark can't go, I'll just not go. Wherever Eric wants to fish, I think it drops off like right in there. Growing up, our trout fishing was small creeks in the UP.
My brothers would go with my dad, and they'd go upstream. Me and my sister would go with my mom downstream, just in old tennis shoes, catching brook trout.
And then you see the Asable, and it looks like it might as well be the Mississippi. So going down to the boat launch right at Mile, these kids throwing rocks in the water. See boats being put in, thinking like, oh man, we need to do that. Come on, fish, where you at? Hiding from the sun. All of a sudden one day it was like everything we caught on spinning rods, it was, well, we could do this on flies and it would somehow be better.
The dry fly aspect of it kind of drew us in. It was just something different and something that was so exciting to witness the take on the surface. And from there, it grew into the streamer stuff.
The trophy water below Mile, that water is the most overrated water in the state. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that.
That's what we grew up on. That's the section of water that we fished. Our cabin was near there. And that section of the water is something special to us.
I think it's just because we started off, throwing Rapalas or spinners. Me and my brothers and my dad just waiting. That's the stretch that we always fished, looking for those big trout. Where are the dumb fish at?
We drove past it on the way to the cabin, drive over the river at Mile. That was sort of our first glimpse of the Asable River. And every single time driving up there, whether it's middle of the winter, middle of the summer, we could have been sleeping on the way up. My parents used to wake us up to look at the 2-second glimpse. So that was probably a big reason of why that section became important to us.
We used to fish for a while till it got later in the evening, and that's when Dad would break out the fly rod with a popper. And if he'd hook one, he'd let us bring them in. Or this is obviously Eric probably hadn't caught a fish all day, so Dad's like, "Here, hold it. We'll get a picture."
I remember that.
That one actually, it was great. I mean, luckily both my parents really enjoy the hunting and fishing aspect. So
my parents both fish, so every weekend was spent almost up north. If it was hunting season, we were hunting. If it was anything outside of that, we were fishing.
It's big water. There's not a whole lot of fish, per river mile. But they can get big in there.
And in Michigan, you start to learn a lot of the biggest trout live where there's not a lot of trout. So it became, when we were up there, it was trophy hunting.
And really just turned into our favorite way to fish, throwing big streamers for big fish.
That's what happens when you have that many days of slow fishing. You start to question everything you're doing.
Yep. You might not move a fish, you know. You might start to get bored. See that little 10-incher rising, and you're like, let's have some fun.
So you know what the reward can be. You know, you do have to make up your mind and say, hey, we're gonna stick to this.
We could go upstream and catch, let's say we would get a dozen trout 14 to 22 inches, and that'd be a hell of a day, you know, anywhere in the state. Or we could go below mile and maybe get one 25-inch fish, maybe get a 26-inch fish.
There it is. Oh, damn it!
There's a whole lot of mystery that goes with streamer fishing. If I go out and you know, and you know where fish are feeding, you know what they're feeding on, you fish to them, it's like you know how big the fish is already. Streamer fishing can literally go from the worst day you've ever had on the water to the best day in a split second.
Yeah, you can have a excellent spot. Like a 10-inch fish could come out, or you can have this beast that comes out.
Yeah.
And
You're
just,
sitting there and you've been in the
comes out
boat
nowhere.
for 4 hours already, and you're just like, everyone's pissy.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just like,
Morale
this
is
is dumb.
low.
You don't even want to row. You're just like letting the boat float. It's like you hear the stripping stop.
Yeah.
And see the rod doubled over, and you're like,
Is that a fish?
Good fish.
Is that a fish?
You're like, everyone's like, what's going on?
Everything.
Gets
Takes
excited.
one fish and all
And then the rest of the day's great.
Yeah, it lasts at least an hour.
Oh, yeah.
How big the fish is, maybe longer.
Slide that way. Let's try to slide it over. That way, that way. That's good, that's good, that's good.
He's close. You got it.
That'll work. To throw big streamers for big trout on waters with low numbers, it's just different. And I think people know the first time they do it if it's for them or not.
Yep, just over 22.
Yeah.
No, it's not easy, but it's totally worth it when even just moving a big fish, let alone catching one.
When it comes to big fish like that and throwing big streamers, you're going to get days that's not going to be so successful. And I think that's what makes it just that much more rewarding, is that you do have to be maybe a little bit of an oddball as far as, you know, be willing to put in 8-10 hour days and maybe only move 1 or 2 fish.
You guys want mayo on your sandwich?
We all sort of have our role. Growing up, we just sort of fell into those roles. You know, Eric is the engineer. He figures out how long is it going to get there, what's it going to cost. You know, he has all these things figured out. And
Mark, he's great with the mechanical side of things. He's always keeping the boats in good running conditions, the trailers and stuff like that.
something breaks, he fixes it. If he makes sure everything is in order before we go anywhere.
You know, maybe it's just the engineering side of me, but always have to have like a plan.
I've had it pretty easy. You know, Mark being the youngest, he's probably always felt like things are just, you know, if there was something Eric or I didn't want to do, it goes on Mark.
Did you cut that?
No.
No wonder why I'm not hooking shit.
Mark does all the grunt work, and Eric figures out all the logistics, and I just show up. Oh, son of a bitch, I wasn't paying attention. It wasn't that big, maybe 15, 16. Where are you guys at?
We've taken friends up there. They didn't even move a fish the whole weekend. You know, they always hear about, you know, the Salvo River trophy waters.
All right, come on, fish.
It's right place, right time. Knowing the section helps, knowing how to throw big streamers helps, so people go in there and they don't understand what is so great about that section river, because it is about catching that one fish. Things are really picking up. You could go in there, you know, on the right day with the right people, or even go in there by yourself, maybe catch a huge trout. It could happen. But you could go 20 more trips without catching that trout again. You could go 5 more years without catching a trout like that again. New plan. Oh, got him. Come on. Oh. You just got to put in the time and keep faith that that payoff is going to come. And sometimes it will, and sometimes you'll get your heart broken. You'll finally get into one of those fish and it comes off. You know, we've always talked about in there when it's slow, you know, when it's fishing's not great and boat gets kind of quiet, you know, it kind of becomes that, our mantras sort of become that one cast. You could go 3 days and not see a fish, and on one cast you could catch the biggest trout of your life. And that's really what it comes down to in there. What do you got? Any time? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Gotta run. Oh, that might be good. Let it run if it wants. Right? Okay, you're okay. You're clear. I got the net. Let me know if he's close. Keep him down. There you go. Yep. Get him over here in this softer water. Don't get that line. Huh? Yep. Go the other side if you need to. There you go. Let me know if he's. I got the net right in my lap, so if he's up, let me know. Go, get him up. Yep. Oh, no. Yeah, I got it. I'm just. Oh, you're not. I can't. I don't want to get that. I got him in the net. I'll be in it. 4 days worth. 4 days worth. You think it'd be a little bit bigger?
It could be last 200 feet of your float, but you just keep going at it. You know, one fish, doesn't matter which one of us catches it if we're fishing together.
Even if all 3 of us are together, it's still different when it's here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Even
too.
if the fish doesn't like mean as much, like the fish itself is sort of just like a byproduct of the whole experience.
Mm-hmm.
This water, you know, like with the 3 of us, means more.
People talk about home waters,
The
and you know-
moment, the memory itself means more than the fish. It's bigger than the fish.
Yeah, because even people always talk about home waters. You know, we don't live anywhere around
but
here.
this is
where we, you know, we used to fish in the UP and some smaller streams and stuff like that. But this is where, really, as little kids, even before the fly fishing days,
Even to what
we
we
used to be out
how
there
and
fishing
what
all the
we
time.
fish for now, this started that.
Thanks, man.
Gretchen brothers can catch fish. This is true. I mean, we were really fortunate as far as we were able to have parents that are both interested in that, and Dad passed up so much time to make extra money or, you know, overtime working to take us fishing or coach us, and
I think I was like just out of college, and Mom was like, you know, we were like, I was at Mom and Dad's, and Dad went to bed or whatever. And Mom and I were just like bullshitting. She said she starts into like this apology.
You know, my parents made a lot of sacrifices growing up. We didn't, you know, couldn't get the newest Jordans, you know, couldn't do this or that, but we had a cabin up north. We had hunting and fishing gear, you know, those were the important things in life to us. So for me, you know, if I wouldn't know, it'd be a weird life without it. I think the older we get, it will become even more about family. We won't even care where we go. Maybe we'll go walk in and fish a midday Hendrickson hatch, you know? As long as all three of us are together and we can do it, and it's easier, and then, you know, go sit at the cabin and just bullshit and have some beers.
Whipping around, all of a sudden I see Matt just go right across drive, and I'm like, he's going awfully fast.